Alright, so we're finally starting a new project here, and we're going to be making a toolbox. First thing that we need to do for our toolbox is we are going to start by cutting out our two side pieces, or our end pieces, I guess is what we should call them. I'm going to call them the paddles because it kind of looks like a pizza paddle, alright? Or a paddle if you're in a canoe or something like that. Anyways, we're going to get a pattern out of our pattern box. We're going to measure it so we can start cutting some wood blanks. And this piece here is 12 inches, okay? Now normally in here what we do is we set up the stop on our chop saw so that every kid comes in and cuts one at 12 inches, okay? But since we only have a handful of us in here right now, we're gonna go over how to do it as if we were just doing an own individual project. All right? So Finn, just double check, make sure that what we're looking at right here is in our plane of view on our camera right there for me. Can we see this area right here?
Yeah.
All right. So we measured this, and how big was it? It was 12. So we're gonna grab our ruler. We're gonna put it all the way out at our outside edge. We're gonna mark 12. Now we don't really need to do this, but for practice, we're gonna take our square and we're going to put our square right here. Make sure it's tight. All right, tight on the edge of our square right here. And I see my line right here. I'm gonna do one line right on down through. Just like so. Now we can see we have a nice square line at 12 inches. Okay. Just gonna move our pattern on down. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go over how to cut this. So, I'm gonna actually have you guys, go ahead, let's have one guy grab that project over there. And I'm gonna have you guys, we're gonna move it right over to this chop saw right on over here. All right. So we're gonna grab this board and we're gonna bring it right on over to our chop saw. And if we're taking a look at this, I'm gonna make sure that we got her in our plane of view. Which piece there do we want? Do we want this piece over here or do we want this piece over here? Yeah, we want this one, right? Now, when we cut with our saw, is the saw blade gonna take out a section of wood? Or is it like a laser that's just gonna cut right on down through and we're not gonna lose anything? Yeah, we're gonna take out a blade's width more, all right? So does it matter which side of the blade we put this line on? Yeah. So since we want the piece on the right, we put the line to the right of the blade. If we wanted the piece to the left, we would put the line to the left of the blade. We want the piece on the right, so we're gonna keep the line to the right. Let me show you how this works. We have it nice and tight to our back stop over here. We're going to pull our saw down and we're gonna take a look at our teeth of our saw blade. I'm gonna hold this up a little bit for us. If we take a look, all right, these saw blade teeth are just on this side of our line. So that when we cut, we will just split our line right down through. So we might see some of our line, we might take some of our line, okay? We're gonna aim to split it right down through the money. If I was to cut this here with it on this side and with the line on the left side of the blade, would my project be too short? It'd be a blade's width too short. So you always need to think about that. If we want the piece on the right, keep the line to the right. If you want the piece on the left, keep the line to the left. Now, come on over here. Have we learned how to use a chop saw yet in here or no? So this is our first time, huh? Okay. So we need to make sure that when we use our chop saw, right, first and foremost, we want to make sure that our piece is tight to our backstop on both sides. If it's not tight to our backstop, we're not going to be cutting it square. If it's not tight to our backstop, the blade's going to grab it and shove it to it. If our fingers are behind it, boy, it's going to slam into our fingers and we're going to lose a nail. Okay? So we come on over and we walk through our cut in our head. I'm tight to my back. Check. I bring my saw blade down. I look right down here, right in plane. It looks good. All right? When I use this, I want to keep my hands, all right, at least a hand's width away from my blade. Now I don't want to press way down over out here because it'll cockeye it, all right? And I don't want to cut it like this All right, because this is awkward for me since I'm right-handed. I do want to cut it like this. I want to keep my hand right here. I'm going to come over. Once again, I'm going to double check. Notice how on this particular chop saw right here is called a compound sliding miter saw. When we go to cut this, all right, we always keep our finger off the trigger. We will pull it out. We will start it. We will go all the way down. We will go all the way back. We will stop it, and then we'll raise it up. Now, we don't do that fast. The slower we cut, the cleaner it is. I'm going to demonstrate. Walk through it in our heads. I'm over here, pull it out, start it, drop it, all the way back. Remember, we want to feel it. Bang. Feel it. Bang. All right, you're going to feel a stop, and then we know that we're good. Here we go. Pull it out, start it. Stop it, complete stop, raise it up. We can just barely see some of our line. If we wanted to get fancy, we could take this and we could measure it 12 inches right on the money. So we now have a nice, good piece right here. Now, do you two both need to cut one of these? We technically need two, but we're only going to do one at a time. We'll do one Monday, we'll do one next day. So I'm going to have you guys demonstrate how we did it real quick. So what are we going to need first to measure this? A ruler, okay? Let's go ahead and grab that ruler. Come on over to this. We can do it right down here. You're going to put that ruler right on your outside edge. Yeah. And you're going to hold it with your finger. You remember, you want to always take a look at stuff too, right? You want to see it, feel it. And you're going to mark it out at 12 inches, correct? Here's my pencil. Okay. And now you're going to take your square. Remember, square only works if we're tight up here, right? Okay, so I'm going to let you hold that. And the square is actually easy to use, but it's a little bit tricky for us as kids because we're still learning how to do it. Now, is that kind of an awkward spot to hold it? Let me see if this is in our plan of deal. Oh yeah, it is. Here's how I like to hold it. So when I do this here, watch this. So we can see your line down here, right? Do you see how my fingers are pulling it this way? And this thumb is, so I'm kind of going like this, okay? I don't want to just hold it out here unless it was in my hip. What I like to do is I like to hold it like this. All right, and it does happen to be hitting me right here, so I am holding it a little bit. This would now allow me to go ahead and draw a nice crisp line. I'll let you try. Don't be afraid to let it pull right into your hip there. And are we tight up there? Remember, when we hold this, you want to hold your hand out there. There you go. That way you get a nice solid bite. Are we right on our line? Okay, let's take a look. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and let's line it up with our saw. And what do you got to think about when you're lining it up? Say that again, buddy. We do want the line to the right of the blade because we want the piece on the right. What else do we need to think about? Yeah, we need to be really tight back there. Are we tight on both sides back there? I'd say so. It's all right. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. So what you actually want to do, you want your face to be right in this plane of view down here. Go ahead and, yep, right on down. So see how you're kind of looking on the left side of the blade? Watch what I do. Watch this real quick. So what I do is I always make sure it's tight right here. And then look, see how I bring my head down? Take a look how I get that. I grab that, yep. Go ahead and pull the blade down. All right. And how does that look to you? Does that look pretty good? I think it looks pretty good too. Are we going to double check, make sure we're still tight to the back? Here's how I check it for tight to the back. Let's put that back real quick. Right, I always double check by pushing like this. Now when we hold this, see this hand right here? This hand is, look, see my thumb? My thumb is pushing it back this way. See my fingers right here? My fingers are holding it down. If I just hold it like this, it can fall down on me. All right, so we hold it like this and we're pushing it back. Okay. Let's double check the measurement with the saw blade just to make sure we didn't move it. How's that look? Well, that looks pretty nice, huh? And we're gonna cut it nice and slow, right? Not crazy slow, but not fast, right? You feel pretty good? Okay, go ahead. All right, nice job. That was perfect speed. Did it cut pretty easy for you? That's great. And we'll just double check the piece, make sure it's 12 inches right on the money. Oh yeah, look at that, right on the money. Now we can see a little bit of our line right here. Do you know why we actually cut our line here and here, but not in the middle? Do you know what happened? So when we drew the line, when you had your square on here and you drew the line, remember when I draw my line, do you see how my pencil is straight up and down? You guys like to go like this. Straight up and down, right along the square like this. If you go underneath, what happens is, this board right here, if we take a look, you see how it's cupped this way? All right, so I don't know if this is in our plane of view. We take a look at this. The board is cupped this way. So what happens is, right in here, this little valley, your pencil snuck underneath your square, okay? Totally fine. All right, you guys are learning, but that's why it didn't happen. You cut it perfect. It is 12 inches right on the money. This looks mighty fine. So Finn, you're probably ready to go ahead and cut yours, right? I'm gonna cut out of the video. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut yours, and we're gonna talk about the next step of this.